Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do another update video for just a little bit of news. The latest WBC rankings have come out this week, so we're just going to run through them. Pretty simple stuff. The latest rankings are out, so we'll start at heavyweight. Obviously, Alexander Usyk's your champion. Interim champion Ajit Kawael still. He's rumoured to be fighting in Germany in January. No opponent announced for that. WBC number 1, Lawrence Okoli. He's back in December in Nigeria on a card with David Adelaide. Not a lot of movement here this month. Obviously, Guido Vianello is coming to the rankings at 12. But yeah, you're full of guys like Dubois, Joshua, Talma, Hergovich. You know, your Wilder's still in there. And yeah, Torres is there. One little update, I guess, that will happen in the next rankings. You'll probably see the loser of Parker against Wardley in the top 15 somewhere. Because obviously they hold titles, interim titles with other sanctioning bodies. They're not included in this list. But when the loser doesn't hold an interim title, you probably see one of those, either Joseph Parker or Fabio Wardley in the top 15. Bridgerweight, Lorena's champion. I'm not even going to do that, but some really random guys in here. Keaton Gomes just lost in the WBC Grand Prix. I guess that's an update. We'll move on. Some weird names in that division. But Cruiserweight. Badou Jack's champion. He's fighting, or rumoured to be fighting, in December against number 1 contender Noel Mikhalian in a rematch. Interim champion Michael Sislak. I don't know what's going on with him. He won the title against John Pascal in June, I believe, or July. God knows what's going on with him. But then you've got, you've got guys like Rozicki, Emil Peralta. Dylan Smith's in there. He's turned down the WBO interim title, so he's in the mix. Brandon Glanton's in the mix. He just got a win. Moved up a couple of spots from 8th to 6th after beating Marcus Brown. The only real fights of note here that are happening or have happened, you've got Alois Jr. could be fighting Vidal Riley for the British title, and the winner of that, obviously, Vidal Riley's 11 here, and Alois Jr. is 13. The winner of that, probably top 6 or 7, you'd assume, if that fight ever happens. But yeah, that's about it here. Maybe with a win on the Boxer show, Jack Massey, who's 16th, so outside the top 15. He's fighting on the Boxer show in a few weeks, the Clark TKV undercard. Maybe if he wins, he gets the ranking, but who knows? Not a lot of action really at Cruiserweight. Light heavyweight, obviously Benavidez is your champion. Bivol's the champion with the others. Beterbiev at 1. He's just pulled out of the fight that he had scheduled on the Benavidez yard undercard. So who knows if that's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen with him? Maybe a Bivol rematch or trilogy early next year. Hopefully, I hope that happens. But yeah. We've got Morel, Vosdik, Yard in there. He's fighting Benavidez for the title. Buatsi, who fights Zach Parker, who's number 11. Next, or in a couple of weeks' time, Saturday next week, early November. The winner of that fight, obviously, Buatsi's 5, Parker's 11. Sorry. The winner of that fight is probably going to get the top 3 ranking, you'd assume. Voslik hasn't done much. But yeah, we'll see. Conor Wallace has been ordered to fight for the IBF interim against Michael Eifert. Assuming he wins that, he'll be taken out. If he loses that, he'll get a downgrade, obviously. Ben Whittaker's in the mix. He's fighting for a WBC title. Some sort of WBC title in his Matchroom debut in late November. So with a win there, he'll get pushed up in the rankings. Richard Rivera is fighting Iman Katiev. So the winner of that fight will get a boost. Mehmet Uno is fighting in a couple of weeks, defending his international title, so he'll get a boost. Like, there's a lot of guys here that are fighting. defending their whatever their titles are. Whatever you think of them, they give you ranking boosts. So, you know, and the only real guy that's come in from outside the rankings, Khalil Coe's dropped out to 16, and Arlen Lopez has gone in at 15 as a new entrant. So that's the only guy that's changed in the top 15 this month. So yeah, the Cuban legend Arlen Lopez. Super middle. Terence Crawford's champion still. Interim champions Christian and Billy. Canelo's at 1, Shiraz at 2, Hyman Gears at 3. Lester Martinez is at 4. Oses are great. Iglesias is at 5, but that's a little bit of a quote false ranking, I'd say, because Iglesias is going for the IBF, so like he's not really interested in this sort of fights around here. I'm sure he'd take one, but yeah, he's going the IBF route. Jamal Charlo, God knows what's happening with him. Plant losing to Resendez really, messed him about, but he's in at 6. I don't know what the hell's going on with him, if I'm being honest. Maybe a Canelo comeback opponent, I don't know. Maybe fights a Munguia, I don't know. Maybe even goes and fights Plant. You've got Luka Plantic, the Croatian. God knows what he's doing. He's had that ranking for ages. He was in negotiations with a couple of guys for a WBC interim title shot early this year when I think he was ranked 4 or 5, but that never materialised. You've got Pacheco, who's fighting number 10, Kevin Lele Sajo in December. They're at 8 and 10. The winner of that fight is going to get a boost. You'll probably see them over guys like Plantic. Jacob Bank, he's in the mix. He's just entered the rankings this month after his win. Caleb Plant's at 13. Yeah, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of guys around here in these super middleweight rankings, really. There's a few good guys, but you can't really see them getting fights right now. The WBC is being weird, so yeah, especially with Canelo at that weight. Anyway, we'll go down to middleweight. You got your champion Carlos Adalmes. God knows what he's doing as well. There's rumours that he might go to super middleweight. And I don't know. I think he might fight. I think you might see Carlos Adalmes fighting Jose Resendez for the WBA interim at 168, but that's just me. You got Nasultanov, who's been mandatory for ages. God knows if he's going to do anything or actually get his shot. You got Yohan Lee Hernandez there. He was going the WBA route for ages, and he's just won actually. He beat a journeyman. God knows what he's doing. Eubank Jr. isn't a serious fighter. Can't make middleweight anymore, and he's fighting gimmick fights, so he's at 3. Jik, who's fighting for the European. Jesus Ramos and Shane Mosley are fighting for the interim title. Yeah, you got Aaliyah there. Denzel Bentley's in there, like Bruno Sirachi's in there, Marcus Taylor. There's a lot. Kieran Conway will be out soon. He's at 13. He's just lost the British and Commonwealth title fight to Lidard. Really good performance by Lidard, but Lidard will get a top 15 ranking now. Conway will be out. So yeah. I think the Sultan deserves a shot. He's been in that position for ages, but maybe you'll get the Sultan off against Jesus Ramos on a PBC show sometime in the next 18 months. Super welter, Fondora's champion, Virgil Ortiz is interim champion. There's a lot of mess here. They installed Gerald Ennis as number 1 when he moved up, but now he's got a WBA interim, so Gerald Ennis is no longer WBC number 1. Bakary Samarke is number 1. You've got Keith Thurman at number 2. All these guys have been moved up on squad. Callum Walsh is in there. Lubin's in there. Brandon Adams, Hardra Badge, or however you say it. Serhii Boatrak's in there. Majmov Zoo, Jorge Garcia, Conwell, Kelly, Katsarakis, Francisco Veron. He's just had a fight announced in Pro Box, I believe. I think he's fighting Romain Villa. That's a good fight, actually, for that sort of level. Then Alejandro Silva, I believe, has just entered the rankings. Jesus Ramos isn't ranked here anymore because he's obviously at middleweight. Yeah. It's not... like, there's a lot of weird fights here that could be made. I think Masvidal's injured, Bartrock's just lost in the summer TKO. Jorge Garcia's there. Like, I don't know, maybe Garcia and Conwell could rematch. They could get a rankings boost, but who knows? It's a few good fights, though. A few good fights that he made at 154. It's the best division in the sport. Welterweight, you've obviously got Barrios, number one, or Barrios champion, sorry. Pacquiao's in there. Suleiman Sissoko, who just won the elimination against Mean Machine. Raul Curiel. He's fighting Rocha in a rematch early next year. I saw that bit of news, so I don't know where Rocha is. 13 against 3. The winner of that fight, especially if it's Curiel, will be right in the mix. Well, they are already, but yeah, Conor Benn, who hasn't made welterweight in over 3 years. Mean Machine and Bengay. Jack Catterall, he's fighting Eko Esserman. Don't know if Eko Esserman's ranked. No, he isn't. But he'll get a WBO ranking off the back of that and an IBF ranking off the back of that, so maybe he goes that route. Stanionis is still there. He just got a win in Lithuania. Polanco, Ramos. Abel Ramos, who drew for the title. Jesus, he's moved down a spot, actually. Because Liam Parrow's entered at 10. He just beat David Papo in an IBF eliminator. I think he's going to fight. There was an article I read, Paddy Donovan against Liam Parrow in December for the IBF final eliminator. So yeah. And then you've got guys like Samuel Molina, Giovanni Santillon, guys like that, you know. Santillon might be moving up to 154, although there has been rumours of a Zayas fight, even though Zayas doesn't really want that fight, it seems. But anyway, we'll move on. 140, you got Macias as champion. You've got Isaac Cruz as interim champion. There's a lot to get through here. Macias is fighting Dalton Smith in January. Puello's going to fight the winner. Interim champion. Isaac Cruz is fighting on Roach. You've got Sandor Martin. He's coming back in December or November. I think it's December in Bilbao in Spain. Barbosa's there. Delgado's fighting a IBF eliminator. God knows what's happening with Pierce O'Leary. Artur Biarstanov is fighting Sergei Lipinets. Adam Azim's in there. Don't know what's happening with him after the mess that was the Abdulayev fight. Was on again, off again, on again. Oscar Duarte. Jose Angel Gabriel Rosa of Argentina is a new entrant at 11. Or has been upgraded a couple of spots from 13 to 11. He lost to Karantina Argbro in Russia, but he's been on a really good run since. He's won like 3 or 4 fights, I think. John Fernandez, Steve Claggett, Kenneth Sims, Jack Rafferty, who's the British and Commonwealth champion. He's fighting K Prosper in December. That won't do anything for his ranking, though. So, yeah. Lightweight, Shakur Stevenson, champion. Cruz is 1, but he's fighting for the RBF title. So he'll be out of the way. I think Nunes and Yeli Herrera will fight in an eliminator for that belt. Dimitri Asanyao is in there from Mexico. He's in there. Maxi Hughes, Jose Valenzuela, Utsugi, Barinchik, Cordina's fighting a WBO eliminator against Gabe Flores in December. So he's not going this route. You've got Justin Powder, who's fighting on a Pro Box card in November. Lucas Barty's gone the WBA route. Then you've got Chavez, Armando Martinez Rabai. He's a decent little fighter. I believe, is he fighting? I believe he's on that Saudi card. 1 second. As I look this up, I should have looked this up before. Yeah, he is fighting Iman Alga in Inoue Picasso on the card. And then Albert Bell, obviously, who might have some promotional news coming. With how do I put this? A promoter that's not the normal or the established promoters in boxing in America. He's got some news coming, which is good for him because he's been out in the cold for a long while. He deserves some backing. Super Feather, Foster's fighting Fulton for the title. Foster's the champion, obviously. Then you've got Mark Magsayo fighting Michael Magnesi in an eliminator. Raymond Ford's in the mix. Number 3. Raymond Ford's got all these rankings, but I don't know what title they're going for because the WBA is busy with Tatsumi and Dickens. IBF, Nunes, I don't know what Nunes is doing. They should just make forward against Nunes. Both with Matchroom, easy fight to make, but I don't know what they're doing. You got Yakubov, who's just announced to fight with Jesse Magdaleno. Ryan Garner's at 5. Quite whether he deserves to be that highly ranked, but he is, because the EBU titles and the Commonwealth titles get you rankings with WBC. Can't say Sal's in there. Canelo Hadri's in there. Andres Cortez just got a win. Musa Gulam is fighting in Cuba again. Gary Russell's in the mix at 10. Whether he'll fight for, he's so inactive. He's really good, but he's so inactive. Like Charlie Suarez, he might be rematching Navarrete, but who knows? Valdez just got a comeback win. He should finish, man. Valdez is done. You've also got Hayato Satsumi, Kenichi Ogawa, Miguel Moran. Miguel Roman just lost to Mauricio Lara in a round, so he'll be out. But Lara did weigh in at 131 for that fight, and he is in a drug suspension, so But when has that ever mattered in boxing? Fulton is moving up with featherweight. Bruce Carrington might be upgraded. Who knows? In recess is Ray Vargas. Who knows what's going on with him? Anyway, Figueroa's at 1. He just got ordered to fight. He got ordered to fight Nick Paul for the WBA title, so I don't think that will happen. I don't think he'll activate this number 1 spot. Nathaniel Collins drops from number 1 to number 3 after he's drawn with Cristobal Lorente, who has gone up from number 10 to number 5. Then you've got other guys like Carlos Castro is in there. Nakano's fighting an IBF eliminator against Reece Salim. Mick Conlon is still in the mix somehow. Kalmatov's there, Tomoki Kameda's there, Liam Davis is there. All the regular guys. Joette's there. Your regular sort of guys at featherweight. Omar Trinidad, Sam Goodman, they will drop down 1 because of Lorente going up. So yeah. Super bantamweight. Inoue is obviously champion. But the big sort of news, or not really big news, it doesn't really make a difference. Junto Nakatani has come up from super bantamweight from bantamweight, sorry, and in his first set of rankings, he's number 1 with the WBC, replacing Alan Picasso. So everyone's dropped down at least 1. So yeah, you got Neri there, who's fighting at featherweight now. He's fighting someone from Thailand in Kyrgyzstan on a Koki Kameda show this Saturday or Sunday, this weekend definitely. You got Raul Cardenas there. He's fighting on a Probots card in November. Guys like Subaru Murata, Ricardo Hernandez, he's fighting Nakatani. Emjat Medaliev's at 11. Just your usual suspects, really. Your usual suspects. You'll move on. But one, it's weird. A lot of these guys are just popping up. I think is Dennis McCann still there? No, Dennis McCann isn't still there, but he is ranked with other people, Dennis McCann. So yeah, great. Bantamweight is obviously vacant. Arthur Nakatani moved up. The top 2, Tenshin and Takuma, are fighting in November for that vacant belt. Juan Estrada's there, still a very good fighter. Juan Estrada. I think he would have beaten definitely Takuma, but maybe Tenshin. He's still really good, man. Kazuya Ioka's entered the bantamweight rankings at number 5. He's moved up from super fly. Legendary fighter, obviously. He's fighting in New Year. He's still going. He's fighting on New Year's Eve again. Maybe Estrada against Ioka. Finally get that fight going on New Year's Eve. I hope so. But then you've got guys like Ryosuke Nishida. He's at 6, but he's fighting an IBF eliminator. Well, he's dropped down to 7, sorry. Because Ioka's coming. And then you've got no real other changes. Maloney's in there, Lover's in there. Yeah. Lover's fighting this weekend at the Kyrgyzstan event as well for Koki Kameda. But yeah. Superfly champion. The best American fighter in boxing, Jesse Rodriguez. He's unifying in November, against Fernando Martinez, picking up his 3rd belt in the division, no doubt. Top two here, Quadras and Gonzalez. Basically, this is just a race to see who's going to be 1 and 2 for when Bam goes up, because they're talking about that. He might move up after November. He might have one more at Superfly. Who knows? So I can see Quadras fighting for it. He's Mexican. They love a Mexican. Chocolatito, I want to see retire because he's washed. But, you know, if they offer him a title fight against Quadras, he's going to take it. Madajika's in there. He's fighting an IBF eliminator. Maloney. Obviously, Aoka's moved up. So, Rincrill, Cortez, Cafu, they've all got a little bit of a boost. Has Contreras moved out of these rankings? Contreras has dropped out, I think. Yeah. Scrappy Ramirez is in the mix. Rene Bibiano is in the mix. He's fighting at flyweight this weekend against Hassan Boy Dusmatov in an IBF eliminator. And Rusey Karuara is in the mix as well at 15. Ari Bonilla is at 16. He's a fantastic fighter if you haven't seen him. And so is Tissaboy. These two here just outside the rankings. Bonilla and Tissaboy, they're fantastic fighters. So have a look out for them. Okay, so onto flyweight. You got Ricardo Sandoval as champion. He's been ordered to fight Galayev, but I don't know what's happening there. I don't think that fight should happen anytime soon because your fight needs rest after that beating he took. PEDs or not, he took a beating in that fight against Rodriguez, who's at number 1 now. Despite testing positive, God knows what's going to happen with that. We know, like, drug tests in boxing, they're funny. But, yeah. Kenshiro's moved up. He was number 1, so all these guys had a shift upwards. You got Felix Alvarado, who's fighting an IBF title against Ibuki in December. Sergio Mendoza, really good fighter. He's fighting an IBF light flyweight eliminator against the South African kid. So he's moving down. You got Mosqueda, he's a good fighter. Tobias Reyes, who's going to WBO or IBF route, I think. He's been defending like regional belts in Argentina since he lost to Alvarado. Good fighter. And Dusmatov, he's fighting a flyweight eliminator against I've got Rene Bibiano. I just said that a few minutes ago. Name slipped me, but yeah. I will say one thing: Imura, the Japanese OPBF champion, I think he might be fighting for a title with a different organization pretty soon. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that because there's an announcement coming. Hint, hint. But yeah, we'll move down to light flyer. Weird division. Carlos Canizales obviously won the title that he should have won last year. But he's finally got the title. He beat Pena. He's now retired, I believe, to win that title in Venezuela. He is fighting knockout CP Freshmart at the WBC convention in Thailand in a couple of weeks. Early December, I think that fight is. So yeah, you got Eric Padillo, who's number 1. He's a decent little fighter. He won an eliminator a few months ago. He is fighting Elwin Soto on a pro box card. Decent little fight to prepare him for, the real top end world level guys. You got Shikichi Iwata, who's moved up from number 3 to number 2, replacing Zarate. You got Taniguchi in the mix. He might be in a title picture. Hiro Noriega's in the mix. Shabalala. You got Eric Rosa, former champion. Yugo Osaki. Yugo Osaki's a really good fighter. Had a eliminator against, who was it? Oh, the name slips me. It was Azel VR that got cancelled last minute a few weeks ago. But when he gets back active, man, you should watch him because he's a brilliant fighter. You got Araneta in the mix. Soto at 13. And yeah, there's not a lot else. There's not a lot of change at flyweight, or light flyweight, sorry. There's not a lot of change. Last one, strawweight champion Melvin Jerusalem. He is defending his title against Kuze in a couple of weeks' time. I think it might be next week, Wednesday next week. I think it might be the 29th for the anniversary of the Thriller in Manila event with the IBA and Manny Pacquiao promotions. Obviously, this is knockout CP Freshmart. He's moving up. Canoy's there, Winwood's there, Luis Castillo's there, Valadares. Like, it's minimum weight. Like, there's a lot of guys that, you know, aren't really world level fighters, but they're in the world rankings. Unique Takada's there. Like, honestly, after this Kuze fight, Jerusalem needs to fight Oscar Collazo or Pedro Talaran, and we need to get this division moving though. Because Collazo is so much better than everyone, and he needs to be undisputed or he needs to move up. But that's another conversation. But yeah, that was the rankings. I hope you found that informative, listening to me drone on for 25 minutes. But yeah, we'll hopefully do these every update for the rankings. They're informative, I guess. I don't think there's a lot of coverage of these sorts of things on YouTube. I know Boo Williams does a good job. A couple of other guys do. But there's not a big emphasis on stuff like this. But a lot of the times, the rankings and the circulars and all that stuff tell you a lot before it's announced. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we will see you later. We'll have a podcast episode out soon. And yeah, thanks for watching.